Hello and welcome to another Tinto Talks video. Today we're going to be having a look at the three religions of Orthodoxy, Nestorianism, and Miaphysitism. Miaphysitism, I have no idea how to pronounce this. Look, that's just one more video where I talk about pronunciation. It's just, apparently it's a running theme I've learned. Either way, if you enjoy these videos and you enjoy me going over the various mechanics and flavor that is going to be involved in this game that we are so very hyped about, why don't you do me a solid and subscribe to the channel and join one of the 44% of people who watch my videos who are already subscribed. If you're part of that 55%, it doesn't cost you anything to click the subscribe button, and maybe you should do that to make me happy. Anyway, without further ado, let us go and have a look at what we have coming up for us with the Orthodox religion. So, Eastern Christianity religions, group them into three main religions: Orthodoxy, Miaphysitism, and Nestorianism. So, let us have a look at the overview for the Orthodox religion. We have +5 max literacy. Literacy is what speeds up your research speed, so that is a good modifier to have. Stability investment cost -10%. Makes it cheaper to increase your stability, which is amazing, especially if you are playing as the largest of the Orthodox tags at the start of the game, the Roman Empire. They have 1.2 million, and I believe they start with a stability of 0. They also have a lot of really negative events at the start of the game that reduce their stability substantially. So you are going to be wanting to increase your stability as them basically from the start of the game. As it's cheaper to increase it, that's obviously good. It's obviously good. You also enable the religious influence mechanic, which we'll learn of in a bit. So there are 74 countries that are Orthodox at the start of the game, largest of course being the Romans. We also have the Kingdom of Serbia, which we learned about yesterday. We have the Kingdom of Bulgaria, the Principality of Kiev, Sovereign Lord Republic of Veliki Novgorod, Georgia here, and the Grand Principality of Halych, and a whole bunch of others. The Orthodox Church, rooted in the traditions of early Christian councils, emphasizes the continuity of apostolic teachings and sacred tradition. Centered on the Byzantine Rite, it places great importance on liturgy, icons, and mysticism. The Orthodox faith is led by patriarchs, with the Ecumenical Patriarch of Constantinople holding a primacy of honor. The tooltip, though, needs some love, apparently. They're not showcasing all of the mechanics of the religion, so I guess we'll read on and see what other mechanics of the religion are not shown in here. But everything is, of course, work in progress. Now, the country religion panel that we see here shows the total, religious unity. I assume we're looking at this from the lens of the Roman Empire, as our liturgical language is Greek. We also have a conversion rate, how fast you're going to convert people. There you see how many holy sites we have as well. How many saints we specifically have, not how many saints the religion has in general, but how many saints of the religion are from our country. We also see what religious actions we have: join Autocephalous Patriarchate, create an Autocephalous Patriarchate, or hold an Orthodox Synod. So, Autocephalous Patriarchate, it is a type of international organization. It's a group of countries of the same Christian religion that have, as the head of their church, one bishop who does not answer to any other within the religion. The leader of the Autocephalous Patriarchate is conferred extra benefits, and being a member can have benefits too, until the member country outgrows the leader, at which time it may be beneficial to branch out and create their own. If the Patriarchate has a holy site within it, then the seat of that Patriarchate can be relocated there for extra benefits. So, we saw this a little bit in yesterday's video, where we had a look at Serbia, who, after they conquer a good bunch, I think it's like 3 provinces from the Eastern Roman Empire, they get to form their own Autocephalous Patriarchate and leave the IO that they're currently in, which is the one from Rome, the Constantinople, and make their own. So I guess that is what is going on here. The Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinopolis. I love the spelling here. I didn't know that it was localized this way. It wasn't last time I played. But anyway, you have a bunch of policies that are like laws within the IO. Dual nature, high Christology, Byzantine rites, accept the tenet of essence, of person, of mask, and allow Christological debates. The leader is getting some prestige and legitimacy, very useful for the Romans, of course. You can invite new members if you so desire, and then you can see how many members there are. Considering we saw here that there are 74 countries following the Orthodox faith in total, and 70 of them are within the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinopolis, which this is a flavor name for Autocephalous Patriarchate. It means there's only 4. I felt like there was more than 4 when we looked at the Georgians, because they're in their own patriarchate. Either way, I guess there's maybe something going on there. Meaning self-headed, an autocephalous patriarchate is a metropolitan bishop in the Eastern Christian confessions, which acts independently as does not subordinate, or subordinate. I've never heard that word before in my life, unless it is a misspelling and it's subordinate. Maybe. I don't know. Let me know. Or answer to any other hierarchically superior church authority. The different patriarchates have their own synods or of bishops and decide upon anything affecting their own religious jurisdiction. So, as the Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinopolis, this is the IO screen that we have for this. You can see who the emperor is, though this is a part of the game that I'm having a little bit of issue with, because from what I can tell, the patriarch himself, the Pope adjacent for for Orthodox, is not actually a character that I can see. Because characters are limited to countries, so you would think maybe it'd be a character within the Roman Empire that would be like, this is the guy. But it's not, and I think that's a misplay. I would like to see the Ecumenical Patriarch as a character, and it would be him, not the Emperor of the Romans, that would be, having his face on this panel saying Ecumenical Patriarchate of Constantinopolis. I don't know. I don't think I'm unique in that. I don't think I'm wrong in thinking that. But if he is a character and I'm just missing that somewhere, it's entirely possible. Feel free to, correct me if I am wrong. But there is a large amount of the community that is like totally anti-character. There's a backlash against those people who are totally pro-character. I'm somewhere in the middle, and I'm thinking there needs to be, if you're going to use a character system in this game, this is one of the areas where that character needs to be here. And certainly needs to be here over the Emperor, because he was not the Ecumenical Patriarch. That wasn't his job. So, him being here is a bit weird. It is a bit weird. Also, I just want to say, the artwork behind him, I love that. I think it is great. It looks gorgeous. But yeah, let's move on. So we have 70 members, and we can see all of the members here from the Roman Empire itself, Trebizond, going all the way up to Veliki Novgorod in the far north. There is, however, an mistake here. If we zoom in, you can see Candia and Athens, who are basically, they're Catholic countries. They are Catholic Crusader states, and Matfer points this out to Pavia, and it is a good catch, and it is currently being fixed. So, good job, Matfer, on that one. But yeah, there we have the map of patriarchates, and again, you can invite new countries to be it. So if you are, say, playing as the Romans, say the Golden Horde has lost their entire army, and as an army-based country, after that happens, they explode into many countries. Inviting all of those to be a part of your patriarchate seems like a really good idea. Anyway, taking here the Autocephalous Patriarchate of Constantinople, which has the custom name of Ecumenical Patriarch as an example. So, the existing Orthodox Patriarchs in 1337, we have 70 for Constantinople. There is 8 for Georgia, Tbilisi obviously being the capital of Georgia, and then Bulgaria is Billy No Mates, he's in one on his own. So, there's 79, but there's only 74 countries, so if we also take the example of Athens and Candia, take them away, so we're looking at 77. But there's only 74. So there's 3 extra countries in here somewhere that are a part of the IO, but not part of the religion. So, anyway, moving on. Countries can join Autocephalous Patriarchate if they've converted to Orthodoxy, or when they belong to one, they can change to a different one or create a new one. Again, we're probably looking at probably from the perspective of the Romans, so we can't click this button, we can't join one because we're already, we are the Autocephalous Patriarch. Can we change our patriarchate? Leave your current one, join a selected one. Also, you can create your own one if you have enough prestige. And you need to not be the... Oh, you're looking from the perspective of Serbia here. You need to be a kingdom, you need to not be the leader of the patriarchate, and you need to have enough prestige. Cool. The seat of an Autocephalous Patriarchate defines the leader of this IO, which unlocks additional effects and actions. So Constantinople is the seat there. Monthly change of... I mean, this panel, if this has nothing changing, this panel should not be there. It shouldn't be seen, in my opinion. Yeah, Constantinople is the home of it. You can relocate it if you so desire, and it costs you the religious influence. I forget the exact name of it, but it's at the top. Religious influence, I was right. Okay, so it costs you religious influence to move it if that's what you want to do. What else are the options here? You need to have it moved to a holy site, I think. So see what the holy sites are. There are also some other blocks in the Autocephalous Patriarchate, such as its saints. So here we have, as I said earlier, the Romans have one saint, Aeonis III Vatatzes, but there are other saints for the Orthodox religion. We have Stefan Uroš III. We have a bunch of Kievan saints, Prince Ihor II, Mstislav the Great, Mikhailo, Volodymyr, and another Volodymyr there as well. So a bunch of saints there for, I guess this is during the time of Kievan Rus, which was quite large at one point. Anyway, we also have some holy sites. We have Alexandria, Antioch, Constantinople, Jerusalem, Mount Athos, which I don't actually know where that is. I could look it up, but I'm not going to. We have Rome, St. Mary's Monastery. St. Mary. Why am I reading so badly today? St. Catherine's Monastery. I think I said St. Mary's Cathedral. So I read this as... Anyway, whatever. So you can see what holy sites we have there as well. Some of them are episcopal sees. Some of them are Orthodox holy sites. Not sure. I assume this is Orthodox holy site as well, based just on the few pixels that we can see and comparing them up here as well. The main currency of the religion is religious influence. It's already appeared in the Catholic Tinto talk. We can see what we are going to be able to gain it from and spend it on. So you get it from primary religion-clergy ratio, the consolidated corruption of the faith, which we, I guess, don't know what that is. And then we have it from accepting the tenet of essence, which is one of the laws within the IO. So you can do a few things with your religious influence. First, you can canonize a former ruler. So Palesi Admiral here saying, why only rulers? Because the characters that you have in the game are centered around the country court, the rulers and their family, some courtiers employable as cabinet members, generals, admirals, explorers, and artists. The people who would usually be considered for canonization are scarcely present in our game, usually as courtiers or iconographers. Thus, we're focusing the gameplay on the mechanic around ruler canonization. Which, I mean, fair enough. So, what happens when you are going to canonize a character? Basically, you choose one of the former rulers of your country. In this case, they're choosing Emperor Ionis II the Good Komnenos. And you're going to get some benefits from that. Some prestige, some legitimacy, and your clergy estate gains some estate satisfaction. From the level of this guy's stats, right, this is what determines how good of a bonus you get. So here what we're looking at is roughly, I think it's actually, 210 points total. And this is what we're getting from 210 points total, which I don't know what the math is on making this into this. Probably includes something to do with their traits as well. But, yeah, the better your ruler is that you're canonizing, the more you get here. And this is the only time you get a benefit from canonization as well. He's been made a saint. Followers of the Orthodox faith are flocking to give him adulation. The benefits from canonization scale with ruler stats. Better make sure you want to canonize a truly memorable former ruler. You can also call for a synod in your country. It's the highest authority. The church formulates the rules and regulations regarding matters of church organization, faith, and order of service. So, the synod here that they're calling at the start of the game, which obviously he's consul commanded himself some religious power for this. The clerical matters of our realm demand tentative care and attention if we are to preserve our orthodox traditions, to deliberate on the issues at hand and determine a common goal across our spiritual domain, and most holy orthodox synod will be called immediately, so you can discuss some eternal affairs, clerical matters, books of local administration, revisit our cabinet proceedings, a re-examination of our foreign policy is in order. So, I don't know what all of these events do, but judging from the perspective of the Roman Empire, I would say internal affairs probably going to be high on your list of things that you want to deal with, because their internal affairs are pretty bad. So, they're doing internal affairs here. You get a synod on state affairs happening, which gives you this event. According to proceedings laid out by our forefathers and in the highest ecclesiastical authority of orthodoxy, we have called a session in synod in order to investigate and improve our legislation. Various prominent members of the clergy are in attendance, eager to hear the conclusion of the ceremonies. This synod shall focus on state affairs. So, benefit the central authorities. I am just going for guessing here. I think this will probably give you a bonus to your crown power for a certain amount of time. Stabilize your interior. I think you're going to get some stability. Prestige. You're going to get some prestige. Finally, there is a unique type of work of art. We have icons. So here we have the Lady of the Sign, which will give you maximum RGO size. This does nothing unless you build to it. So basically, every location, of course, has an RGO assigned to it. And if you are... you can basically build a certain number of levels to that RGO. So say you have some dies in a location, and you can build up to 7 levels there. If you have maximum RGO size plus 10%, you're probably just going to get... I don't know if it rounds up. I probably choosing the number 7 was a bad idea, but either way, you might be able to get an extra level out of that, which is obviously a good thing. You get another, like 1,000 peasants or something working, actually probably laborers, I can't remember, working on your RGO, but it is not in itself going to give you a ton of extra benefits. You still have to, like, you know, build up to that maximum RGO size and then work the land. This, I think, icons, if you can put them anywhere and not just in holy sites, I think having icons in, like, really high value trade goods is probably going to be your best bet. So if you have a location that produces gold, for example, or gems or silver, something like that, putting the icon there for this bonus probably going to be a really good idea. The icons not only give a modifier to the location where they are, but they can also be used in a periphora to another location. So we throw a periphora, a procession. This takes an icon work of art on the road, relocating it to another location. As the icon travels, it will bring benefits to the locations it passes through until it reaches its final resting place. Very cool. So I guess these are these Roman ones? Lady of the Sign there is... who can we see who we're looking at? No, they're in Novgorod. Okay, so we're looking at Novgorod signs. So we're going to be moving the St. George in Yuriev and moving it towards somewhere. Unfortunately, they don't actually say what the benefits are on the road unless it is these benefits. So as you move along, you just get maximum RGO size. Then you build the RGO size to maximum, and then the icon moves again. And do you lose that level, or does it stay at that level? So you'd be like 8 out of 7. Is that a thing? I don't know. But okay. Moving on, though, we have Miaphysitism, I think. Either way, it's similar to Orthodoxy with some minor differences of view of the religion itself. So you get less taxes from your clergy, you get more religious influence, more tolerance of the true faith. You obviously get your religious influence mechanic as well. There are 5.2 Miaphysite pops in the world, not majority, but a bunch of them in the tribe of Alodia. There's also the Ethiopian Empire, county of Cilicia, and etc. It teaches that in the person of Christ, his divine and human natures are united into a single, indivisible nature. This doctrine, rooted in the Council of Ephesus, spread widely across regions like Armenia, Egypt, and Ethiopia. Miaphysite communities have preserved their unique liturgies and traditions, emphasizing Christ's unity as both God and man. Good for them. Same as Orthodoxy, it has also got the mechanics of canonization and autocephalous patriarchates, with these ones being the patriarchs at the present at the start. So we have one in Anisi, Kolam, Mosul, Alexandria, I think that is, and Antakya. However, most of these are actually empty due to being occupied by Muslim countries, with only Ethiopia remaining as part of an ecumenical patriarch of Alexandria and the Armenian Patriarchate as the only one containing more than one country. So Armenia here having Artaz, Kachen, Siunik, and Veotos Dazor in their IO. An integral part of each of the Eastern Christians and their patriarchates are their tenets, defined as a series of laws. So here we have a bunch of religious laws, which Christology, liturgical practices. You can see you can change a bunch of those if you are so wanting to. The nature tenet is a hard-locked IO law that depends on each religion. So, known also as physis, this tenet rests at the core of our beliefs. It stands for an undisputed fact that Jesus Christ is of dual and harmonious nature. The coexistence of humanity and divinity is the basis of coexistence that we shall strive to live by. Gives you some stability investment there if you are the leader, a little bit less if you are not the leader. Very nice. We can also choose what kind of nature we have. Single, composite, dual, or separate nature. Composite nature here gives a bit more diplomatic capacity. For, obviously, a little bit less if you're not the leader. Fair enough. The tenets can be changed, and there are multiple possibilities in each law. So we have liturgical practices here, some legitimacy, you get more if you're the leader, etc., etc. As for Nestorianism, there's no country with it as its state religion at the game start, but the religion is nonetheless still quite spread in some in some areas. We saw a bunch of it in China and India. I think there are a bunch of Nestorians. So you get, again, less taxes for the clergy, some religious influence, stability, investment cost. There are almost 1 million Nestorian pops in the world, but no countries. It was named after Nestorius, teaches that Christ's divine and human natures are distinct and exist side by side. The doctrine was rejected by the Council of Ephesus, but found a strong following in Persia and beyond. Nestorian Christians spread their faith across Asia, becoming the largest Christian religion in the land area covered. So we have our panel here showing what things you can do. Conversion rate's a little bit lower than Orthodox, less religious unity. I think this is obviously, we're tagged onto a country that doesn't have, Nestorian as its primary religion, because no country like that exists, unless they've just released one just to see what that would do. Either way, it also has its own holy sites. We have one in Angamali, Baghdad, Fars, Jerusalem, and Samarkand. It also has a specific definition of the nature of Christ. Hosting two natures, divinity and humanity, these two aspects of Jesus are completely separate, which gives you some pop conversion speed. Very cool indeed. Final remark on common flavor for all of the religions. First, they all have their own unique flavor monasteries. So we have the Orthodox monastery here, 100 clergy are, you're required to man it. You can build it in cities, towns, and rural areas. Gives maximum literacy for the clergy, but also makes them consume a bit more food. Production methods are here. I feel like some of these are probably a little weaker than others. Like I mentioned, these goods. Wait. This is just worse because it requires more glass than here. Same amount of paper and same amount of cloth, but then it also requires honey and beer. So why would you ever choose the first one? It is just worse. Either way, maybe that needs a little bit of rebalancing. Orthodox clergy tend to have a strong grip on power and authority, and their monasteries serve as the seat of such power, being under the protection of the icons they hold. They are the custodians of the country's traditional values. The Miaphysite monastery, is it just exactly the same, just with flavor differences? It kind of looks like that. Follow rites and ceremonies that have been performed since the beginning of Christianity. Monasteries are the keepers of those rites, as only written their walls is the word of God, diligently and meticulously studied. Modifiers are work in progress. Okay, fair enough. They do want to make them different. There is also a law which you can define the policy of the relationship between the state and the religion, the role of the patriarchate. So at the moment, the active policy here is state patriarchy giving religious influence. You allow a bunch of different policies if you so desire to change them. Patriarchy is a major pillar of Orthodox faith and an institution with considerable influence in the state. All right, cool. That's all for today. Of course, I've got a bunch of comments that I want to bring to you as well. The day that I am uploading this video, there is also going to be the third behind-the-scenes video, so go and watch that after you've seen this, if it's already out. I actually don't know if it is yet, but definitely worth watching. These have been really good. On Friday, there will be the Roman Empire Tinto flavor, which I am, of course, exceptionally happy about. Thankfully, they didn't upload that video, or that Tinto talk today, because today is, in fact, the... I'm not going to do that math on camera. The anniversary of the fall of Constantinople, because it's the 29th of May, which is when the Turks took the city. So, sadness today, you know, very sadness. Anyway, let's go and have a look at some of the comments. 2 questions. What's the difference between Orthodoxy and Miaphysitism? Both seem to have the same mechanics. So, the 3 religions share some common building blocks, although they're not exactly the same. Orthodox is more based around the autocephalous patriarchs and the different interactions available, while Miaphysitism is more based around the different tenets that each patriarchate has. Currently, we're currently how the tenets work. Probably currently reviewing how the tenets work, because on the one hand, they could also be shared by Orthodoxy with some tweaks, but on the other, it makes for better differentiation between the both religions. Fair enough. Can an Orthodox country take control of a patriarch like the Ottomans did in 1453? When they appointed their own patriarch of Constantinople? No, because an autocephalous patriarch is an international organization composed of the Orthodox countries that belong to it, but there are some consequences if Constantinople falls, as in real history. That being, whoever is playing the game as, you know, as an Orthodox country that is, you know, after Constantinople falls, can proclaim the Third Rome as an action, which, you know, gives you an Ecumenical Patriarch in wherever you are. Wherever Mardin is, I don't know. Is there any content around the Hesychast controversy and its outcomes? If so, can we see it? Can you change the Miaphysite churches to their official name? Actually, I don't think he answered this question, but they're asking if they can change the church to their official name of Oriental Orthodox and Orthodox change to Eastern Orthodox. Something they've already discussed previously. Well, it would be more correct to have Eastern Orthodox, Oriental Orthodox, and Church of the East. This is a video game, and they want to have clear, differentiable concepts. That's why they prefer to use Orthodoxy, Miaphysitism, and Nestorianism. There is another element to this in that this game is localized into multiple languages. It's another comment that Pavia made on this subject, but I didn't, you know, click it. These words, Eastern and Oriental, in some languages, there is no difference between the two. And this obviously is a game that needs to be localized into multiple languages. I personally think this sounds better. This might be more correct, but this has more, I don't know, more flavor, I guess. This sounds better to me. Maybe that's just my ignorant atheist ass not understanding why this would be important, but it just sounds better. I don't know. How does the game intend to represent extraterritorial patriarchates such as Antioch and Jerusalem? Through holy sites, they need a country to exist, as in IO. Will the Hesychast controversy be portrayed in the game? There is something, yes. Has Mount Athos got any unique flavor? It's a holy site. More information about the alternatives for mask, essence, and person. So essence here gives religious unit influence, and taxes go down for the clergy. Person gives accepted culture cost reduction. That's kind of nice, actually. Mask gives some tolerance for heretical beliefs, but the clergy doesn't like it. Christological debates gives more maximum literacy for the clergy, but makes them consume more food. Very cool. And yeah, that's the Christological debates there. There is also flavor regarding the Pentarchy, which is, I think, something that a lot of people were wanting. One of the reasons why you play as the Romans in EU4 is to, you know, restore the Pentarchy. That being the very specific holy sites of obviously Constantinople, Rome, Antioch, Alexandria, and Jerusalem. I think I got those correct. Yeah, hopefully that is going to be something. I mean, it says there's flavor. That's not the button I was trying to click. It says there's flavor, so looking forward to seeing what that flavor is. If you have a free tag with I assume Nestorian as its main religion, like Assyria, does it become the sole member of the Nestorian Church IO? Yes, it does. Are there any Nestorians in China? In Mongolia and China, there is some, yes. Do the saints give any bonuses, or only the one-time gain when you canonize them? It's only at the moment you create them. What determines how much prestige and estate satisfaction you get from them? It is their stats. How is the Christianization of Lithuania, the last pagan country in Europe, handled? As the head of the Orthodox Church, is it possible to defy destiny and have them convert to Eastern Christianity instead? Yes, there is a event chain about that. Looking forward to exploring what that is. Can you show us the ecclesiastical territories of the Georgian Patriarchate? There it is, right there. Take into account that autocephalous patriarchates are international organizations and thus operate within countries, so it's not possible to have a one-to-one copy of the historical ecclesiastical organization in the game. It's just an accurate approximation. That's why it doesn't have, buildings in Jerusalem, Athos, and Bulgaria. Though, I would argue that it's kind of possible, like having the owner of whoever the autocephalous patriarch, like the guy who at the head of your religion, that is a country, right? They operate under countries, as you said. So having them have buildings in other countries, which is also possible, would be, I think, totally doable. And in that case, you could also have it so, Georgia's lost their patriarchate to, I don't know, an expansionist Circassia. Well, okay. Well, then those buildings get transferred to Circassia as well. That could be a thing. I think it's totally doable and would be kind of nice. What's the relationship between Eastern churches by default? The relationships between religions are kindred, positive, negative, and enemy. They're currently at kindred, being the closest branches, which allows for easier management of their pops compared to others. Very cool. Are we getting other Tinto talks for the remaining Christian branches, like Strigolnichevstvo? No. As you can see, they have additional branches and heresies represented, but they aren't very different from their mother religions, just some of the building blocks that have already been presented in different Christian-related Tinto talks. Can we show all the Nestorian patriarchates that exist at the start? There is a couple in Mosul and Kolam, though no country belongs to them, so if you convert to Nestorianism, you can join either of them. Do the autocephalous patriarchates interact with each other? No, because they're IOs and thus containers. The actors that can interact with each other are the countries inside of them, and you cannot be a member of multiple patriarchates. Is there an event that changes the liturgical language of Orthodoxy to Church Slavonic or something along those lines? You can do it mechanically for your country, so if you are looking at your own country, you can change your liturgical language if you so desire to, whatever you want, I guess. Probably dialects within your country, I would imagine, is the case. And it costs 20 stability, which at the start of the game feels like a lot. Maybe a bit later, maybe not so much. Maybe that'll be a fine cost for you. Changing it to Latin, for example, might be a really good idea for some countries, as Latin is very powerful, and therefore you get a large amount of benefit to your research speed. Is there any benefit for Orthodox countries? Should there be bigger numbers of patriarchates? Any benefit if they release vassals in conquered holy sites, etc.? Also feels like something compelling Orthodox countries to release vassals in the Pentarchy seats, as they have their own patriarchates as defined in the Ecumenical Creeds. There are some benefits from leading or being a member of a bigger patriarchate, like on the holy sites and others, by going and creating your own. I like having more agency on the AP-related actions as its leader. As an example, it's not purely beneficial if Serbia stays in the AP of Constantinople or if it creates its own. We want it to be situational and depending on the gameplay objectives of the player. I think if you play Serbia, you're probably going to want to conquer Constantinople, just in general. That seems reasonable to me. Is the Armenian Kingdom of Cilicia part of any patriarchate? Yes, they are part of the Patriarchate of Cis, which has these countries, and I have no idea what most of those flags are, so I'm not even going to try and guess. And finally, finally, the question, I guess, that has been on everyone's minds as soon as, I mean, forever. Everyone has been thinking this. Can you mend the schism? Is it possible to mend the schism with Rome? There is flavor content about mending the schism in both ways. Roman Catholicism triumphant in Constantinople, and Greek Orthodoxy triumphant in Rome. Fantastic. That is actually a... Yeah, I'm going to give that one a love heart, because I'm very excited about that. And I want to mend the schism. That would be very, very cool. I imagine it's just going to be a case of owning all of the Pentarchy seats. Basically, conquer Rome and the Mamluks, or conquer Constantinople and the Mamluks is going to be the way you go about that. Probably there's more about that, but there is flavor content around that, and I am going to explore that for sure. But that is all I have for you today. Like I said earlier, there is going to be a video about the internal workings of Paradox Tinto. I'm always excited about those. That's coming out at some point today. It may already be out by the time you watch this video. It may be coming out in a few hours by the time you watch this video. I don't know. And then on Friday, we have the Tinto flavor for the Roman Empire, and I am exceptionally excited about that. So, go and cry away the rest of your day mourning over the loss of Constantinople to the Turks on this day in 1453. And I will see you guys on Friday or Saturday, probably. I'll see you then. Bye-bye. Oh yeah, also subscribe to the channel, because that would make me happy. Toodaloo!